All right, guys, welcome back to Thinking Property. One of the things that we saw last year in 2022 was that Russia, out of all places, decided to buy a whole bunch of gold. A matter of fact, the numbers are over $700 million in gold. Blake, my twin brother, is here to kind of break down the news. Blake, what do you think about this? I'll go ahead and I'll read the story. I'm going to put it on everyone's screen. This is a piece from Reuters, and it's actually written in Russia. So it was from a Russian author over there. It says, according to the data, Russians bought over 50 tons of gold bars in 2022, 10 times more than the year before. The most sought after were 1 kilo bars, which are accounted for about 60% of them sold. And then it says that the state controlled VTB Bank said it sold clients over $711 million worth of gold. A lot of people say that this is because Russia was specifically, basically asking its investors to divest out of the dollar because they don't want to strengthen their enemy's currency. What do you think about that? And if these reports, they're obviously true with the stats, but if this continues, what does this do to the American economy?
Well, I completely agree with you first off about the Russians buying gold. First off, because they want something that's tangible and physical that they can own. And so they have something tangible and physical that they can control. And because of that, they've probably seen a lot of upside because they've bought in so much of the gold that's actually on the market, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing, whenever cash fails, typically gold and silver tend to go up in value. So I'm sure they're making a value play going, okay, you know what? There is a global recession. We have something that is, time tested to be able to withstand some of those recessionary losses. But secondly, I would kind of wanted to hit on kind of the bigger picture here. The reason why they are buying these gold assets is because of the fact that they can't any longer trade in United States dollars. And the reason why is because of the war in Ukraine. So when the United States put out sanctions on Russia, Russia immediately couldn't trade with some of their traditional partners, including us, including Britain, including Germany, where they sell a lot of their oil. That oil could no longer be sold in American dollars. That oil has to be sold in a Russian currency or somebody else's currency. And so recently we've seen Brazil, Russia, India, China, and a few other countries, but a lot of the big players, especially in the oil markets, coming together to start to explore ways to create their own currency that they can trade in. If this is the case, that's a problem for the US dollar because for a long time, the US dollar has been the oil standard, the oil reserve dollar. So people have had to buy oil using United States dollars. So we've made
Yeah.
money off of every time they convert those dollars or their currency to United States dollars. So now we're starting to see them cut us out of that market, which is definitely something scary for the future. So I think the bigger story here is their willingness to ditch the US dollar for other assets or other monetary policies.
Well, and I think that you're absolutely right there. One of the things that you'll see is actually uh, Vladimir Putin a couple of months ago, I think it was maybe even half a year ago, went to go meet President Xi Jinping of China. And they talked about maybe that they would basically form a petrocurrency of their own, which would be pretty strengthened considering that you have China, which is pretty much the largest economy in the world. And then
Yeah.
you have Russia, which is some people call it a glorified gas station. I won't go that far, but they just pump out a bunch of oil revenue. So if they do this, or if they look at even some of their partners, maybe going to Saudi Arabia, where they felt disrespected by the United States prior years, maybe if they form this union, that really could weaken the U.S. dollar. If the U.S. dollar collapses, like, let me ask you this: what happens to our country? Are we going to enjoy the wealth and the infrastructure that we've previously had, or is this something that is kind of a fatal blow to the United States?
Yeah, it would not be good. Now, I'm not saying that this will happen, and if it is, it's still definitely years away, in my opinion. However, yeah, if the dollar were to fail, let's say, um, we would automatically see a lot of value go away from our economy. Because what's the point of trading in American dollars? What's the point of, making America one of your major allies if there's no trade benefits, right? If there's no reciprocal trade benefits. And so if we do see, the dollar get kicked to the curb, at least by even those few major countries that I mentioned earlier, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and they're even talking about potentially, France and some of the francs in Africa that are being used by African countries being kicked to the curb. So I potentially could see the dominoes falling um, in a particular manner that wouldn't be favorable to the United States. It's hard to predict exactly what it would do to the economy, but it would definitely make us lose some of our leverage as the global superpower and the global economy that we run right now.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. I think it's something that our politicians and our leaders should take a little bit more care in dealing with because, again, setting the standard of the globe for basically being the world currency. If any other country, if any other power does that, the United States seems to be in deep trouble. Blake, thank you so much for being here to kind of break down that whole situation that we have. And I really appreciate your insights.
Thank you.